Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hello. Well, I thought that this week we would maybe use a bit of a theme.
Okay.
Because there is, for those who maybe know about it, there is
Are in the know, yeah.
Yeah, in the know, on the down low. There is the Game Maker's Toolkit Jam, GMTK Jam going on at the moment, which I think continues to break records for the biggest jam on itch every year that it runs.
Yeah.
And gets sort of thousands of entries. We did not participate. No. Because, we don't have time most of the time to get into it.
We've got families. We only have time to do one jam a year, and that happens to be Global Game Jam. Because we get out of our houses and can do it external.
yes, remove distractions. But I thought we would maybe use their theme.
Okay.
This week in all of our games.
Okay, cool.
And
that theme would be
just some click pitch. That theme is built to scale.
Built to scale. Okay.
So I think kind of things around things that are very different in size, things that maybe scale in size as part of the gameplay. Definitely, Katamari Damacy sort of mechanics potentially, or, things around growing or shrinking things.
Mm-hmm. And thing is, just because it says built to scale doesn't mean that you need to worry about the scale of the thing that would be in real life. It just means that at a size of some kind.
And again, as usual, it's just a jumping off point. It's just to get the juices flowing. Yeah. And to inspire us a little bit.
And because we aren't actually putting in an entry, if we decide to go, you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to even talk about built to scale, that's fine.
Yeah.
We wouldn't win anyway.
Right. Let's do it then. 3, 2, 1, click.
Couscous.
Oh, macaroni.
Oh, macaroni couscous.
So it's definitely food-based.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, food's definitely a fun thing to play around with scale.
Yeah, okay. So I like the fact, I like this idea that's come straight into my head of you're serving a giant.
Okay.
So, but you're like a regular, Jack and the Beanstalk sort of size.
Yeah.
So you've got this massive plate that you and the other people have to sort of...
Oh, a co-op thing could be interesting with like balancing and stuff. Maybe.
With something that big. Don't roll the meatball off the spaghetti.
Yeah, I was thinking like a sausage, but yeah, it could like a meatball or... Okay, could this be one of those... Because there's been games going around a bit with the sort of precision platformer stuff where you're like tied together with another player, like it's a co-op. There's the one with the penguins. There's another one recently, I think, where it's more like a 3D one and you're chained together, and it could be interesting to have that, except, it's about what chains you together is essentially whatever dish
food
you're carrying or food you're carrying. And you have to work together to get over obstacles or get through obstacles.
And if you're planning on putting something down, then maybe, you've got to balance it precariously on, someone's head.
You have to choose the right spot to put it, for sure.
And then you're doing a mini game of keeping it there, and then, you've got to fix yourself up, get back into the right position.
So yeah, I like that. Do you think this would be 2D? I feel like the gameplay might work better in 2D, but...
Well, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of 3D. The fact that, you can only have one person coming across the ladder at a time. There's a ladder that's going in between.
Maybe. I feel like with the tilting stuff, that having that extra dimension of tilt would make things a lot more complex. But anyway, I mean, I could see it working both ways. I feel like in 3D, you'd have to be like more than 2 people. You've got 4 people in each corner of the plate. It's like, no, we all got to jump at the same time, or like that one corner's going to go up and everything's going to fall off. All right, 3, 2, 1, up.
Two people. Yeah, I can kind of get with that. Like going across, I mean, the reason why I was sort of thinking, 3D is because I kind of felt very Death Stranding as well. You're traveling across, carrying this dish with two people and having to sort of, keep everything as close as possible and.
Yeah, I guess I was more going in the way of definitely sort of thinking about just the vertical up and down of each player of affecting the tilt of a plate-like object or a platter or something, and then the types of obstacles.
Whereas I was thinking more the horizontal tilt of something. So yeah, it works both ways.
It works both ways, like because I'm picturing that you do have to put it down sometimes, and it's like, oh, we have to put it down on essentially a seesaw thing here and balance it by jumping on top of it then to get across something and then somehow getting it back or whatever, like having those sorts of different shifting it up in different ways, or like we've got to attach ropes to either side and it's hanging underneath us as we go across this across this ravine or whatever, and then it's got
one of those stupid Venetian blind-esque things where you got to pull it out to the side first. And otherwise it locks in place and it's like, oh, come on, just let it go and let it go down.
That's it. And if you've ever tried to do a Venetian blind at the same time as someone else, if you've got one of those, or it's like the outdoor ones, like we have here, where it's got the two strings and you're pulling them separately.
That's what I was talking about.
That's what you're thinking of. Okay.
Venetian blinds, you have multiple strings and you're having to deal with it all. So if you're pulling them at
a different rate, then it tilts. Yeah.
And sometimes the teeth grab one, but not all the rest. And it's like, shink.
And it just falls all the way down and then you've lost your pasta in the ravine.
Exactly. Okay. And all you're trying to do is just get to the giant's table. But the problem is,
serve them up. Make sure you get a tip.
It looks like a massive world that you're traveling across, but really, that river is just rivers of saliva because he's really hungry.
He's really hungry, this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was also thinking we could just literally do the Plucky Squire and flip between 2D and 3D, and then we get to have our cake and eat it too.
Well, maybe just in the cake levels then.
Yeah. I mean, that works.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, click.
Tuxedo.
Thermistor.
What is that?
It's an electrical component, I'm pretty sure, that deals with temperature. Like, it's kind of like a resistor.
Oh, resistance thermometer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A temperature-dependent resistor, basically.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so something around temperature, tuxedo, and scale.
Yep.
Tuxedo makes me think of like a James Bond super spy.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of the different ways you could go with scale, and like the automatic thing is a small super spy, but then I was thinking what a giant super spy would be like. Like
it's a giant again.
How do you
blend in the previous game?
How do you blend? Yeah. How do you blend in a world where you're a giant, but you're also trying to be a spy?
Your name is Gulliver.
You're in what's the? I don't remember the world. Liddy travels to
or something like that.
The Lilliputians. Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about that just kind of tickles my fancy that you're dealing with
so maybe
different temperatures
you're a regular sized human super spy.
Yeah.
But for what, like, on this mission, you end up on an island. You do this classic scuba up to the island and pull off the scuba suit and your tuxedo's on underneath and you're looking super cool or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you come across a village, except it's like, the highest buildings at your knee level.
Yeah. And then
somehow you've got to get
Okay,
information.
now, how do I get information? So, if I lay down, and wear my ghillie suit, then
I love the I love the idea of peeking into windows as this giant spy trying to like, get information from people. You'd like flip your binoculars around the other way. Yeah. Use it as a microscope or whatever to, I don't know if it would work like that, but to try to read the designs, the blueprints that are in this mini scientist's lab or whatever.
Now, for some reason, whenever I think of, giant beings versus small beings, like, speed seems to go at different rates. Like, when they're big, everything's big and slow. Like, is there, like, a, relativistic time difference between size because of gravity and all that sort of stuff? Like,
I mean, I think there's some things that you could bring into that. I wouldn't want the little people to just be like moving around super fast, which is what that would kind of be like, because just that makes the game even more difficult. Maybe there's a toggle.
But then again,
mode is relativistic time.
Technically to them, you're moving very slow, and therefore, you're like Drax. You're slowly eating popcorn and you can't be seen because that's a thing.
Right. Yeah, that's how you be invisible. Just move real slow.
Yeah. You can't see me now.
Maybe it needs to be a VR game then where it is around moving slowly.
It's super hot, but like you're big and they're small, and it's
yeah. Well, I don't know if I don't know if you'd bring in the actual like time only moves when you move.
No. If you're I'm talking about the fact that, like, as you're moving, like, if you move too fast, then they notice, and then
You could almost bring in some like God game sort of elements about it as well. Like, if you just go full on, it's like just picking them up to
interrogate
them up in front of your face. All right. I know you're working for Bloomfeld or whatever.
Come into my lair. It's like, I can't, I'm too big. It's like, I'll open up my lair, and he just opens up the windows.
Like the big observatory roof opens of the evil lair, and you just like...
It's enough for you to sort of see...
Crouch, maybe crouch in there. And
not even. I'm thinking, it's like the width of your eyes, so you can actually see with both eyes, and it's sort of like, oh fuck, this is really small.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. That could be a fun little VR game, actually, particularly
Mr. Bond.
Particularly if you're making the player get down on their knees to look into buildings and stuff,
because everything is on the ground.
Everything's down on the ground.
Like, the only thing that's actually anywhere near the height of you is, if you have
trees and like a clock tower or something,
or if you go into the water, then you can maybe get to waist level. It's really fucking deep.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. All right, 3, 2, 1,
cool. Beer.
Cool beer.
Just beer.
Mirage.
Ooh. I mean, I'm picturing someone going through a desert, and the first thing that he's super thirsty, and all he wants is an ice cold beer, because nothing quenches a hard-earned thirst like a ice cold Victoria bitter.
Victoria bitter sponsored game. So it's just a big stubby that he sees, like a tower in the distance.
Yeah.
Got the like nice atmospheric desaturation happening as there's just this huge
bit of a heat haze coming off.
Yeah. So what happens when you get there, though? Is if it's just a mirage, or is this sort of set in a dream? It's all set within the hallucinatory dreams of this thirsty person dying of thirst in the desert.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of cool to set a game, at that sort of scale. It's a desert wide. So the scale of the game is actually, this huge desert that you're crossing.
Okay. It would be an interesting challenge to have a massive desert open world game and making that fun, like
going
the
between
traversal and
oases
getting around and stuff.
Yeah.
And mapping it out almost like, yeah, you do a lot of just traveling across just sand dunes and bare desert. But I don't know, maybe you get like sand surfing things, like maybe you get to like start speeding through these things and like up and down the dunes and stuff. Like that could be cool.
What's coming to mind is the most annoying minigame in the world, that minigame from Space Quest that you and I did on the YouTube channel a very long time ago, where I dropped a few C-bombs because it was that bad. But the idea of, constantly on the horizon, there's this massive VB.
Yeah. That you're heading towards, okay.
And you've got to like plot out how you're going to get across this desert. You can sort of see that there's an oasis down here, and I see like there's been a caravan that's gone down this way, and your whole thing is all about how do you?
It's almost a bit
keep yourself
Trail.
How can you?
Then,
yeah. So
like you've got your resources, and you have to. You're doing sort of risk reward things between. Oh, okay. Do I risk going to the one that's further away? That's probably gonna that's gonna have more resources, even though I've only got like 3 canteens worth of water left. Or do I go to the closer one that's gonna give me a little bit to keep me going? But you're gonna lose time or whatever because you've only got a certain amount of travel and days. Or
I can certainly see this as being okay. This time I'm going to go here, and I think this might be a better idea than last time, and just going through trying to trade with the right people. You can still have a little bit of actiony sort of stuff along the way, like you come across raiders and you got to protect your caravan from that. And
well, I do kind of like the idea of traveling between the areas. Is maybe a fairly kind of arcadey, traversal based, up and down the dune. You get speed from coming down the dunes. You're avoiding things as you go along.
Avoiding rocks, yep.
Maybe you do get, like you said, you get raiders coming that you have to fight off, like on the run, like as you're going. Bit of road rash kind of style.
And occasionally, it's going to branch out where it's like, okay, we know there's an oasis over here because that's our scouts have gone ahead and they've found this, and the idea of being able to play with this and have like a whole caravan that you actually sort of you play as the caravan rather than like an individual person. So then if you've only got 20 people left, maybe at the next caravan you can trade. And coax someone to
bring people, recruit people
onto your trip across this massive desert.
Yeah, well, that brings in the idea of like unique characters and stuff then too, or particular archetypes. It's like, oh, we brought on a scientist, and that means we're going to be able to recycle our beers and get more, last longer. Every canteen lasts a bit longer.
Maybe you come across like a caravan that's been raided, but it's like, you can see that there's still some good wheels there. So it's like, okay, now we've got some wheels that we can replace on some of our caravans. We're going to be fine if we hit a few more potholes or rocks and that sort of stuff. And
yeah. I mean, where this is heading, right? Story.
Yeah, I mean, it's heading to a big VB.
Well, it's heading to the VB.
On the horizon. That's where it's heading.
Yeah.
But you're right, storylets. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from a narrative point of view, that sort of those sort of little like event-based gameplay almost lends itself to storylets. When you get to the VB, do you find out that actually you've been tiny this whole time and it's just
a regular size
sand
VB,
pit?
and this is a sand pit, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think when you get there, you realise that you have to go all the way back because you actually forgot
your bottle opener.
You forgot your bottle opener, and during the whole thing, like there's a little bit of a lean to the left.
Lean to the left? Okay. VB bus for hope.
Exactly. It's desert bus. A desert caravan.
Desert beer bus. Beer pub crawl, desert crawl.
Desert crawl, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Something there. All right, 3, 2, 1, click. Bingo.
Panel.
Panel. Okay.
P-A-N-L-E-L. Panel.
Panel?
Panel.
You put the extra little L. No. Panel, okay.
Bingo and panel.
Okay.
Like,
interesting. So for panels, and maybe this is because we went and saw Alien Romulus last night, but I went to like the paneling on spacecraft, like building a spacecraft in some way, or like attaching the paneling on in different ways.
Yep.
Almost in a bit of a, you know how there's those really kind of somewhat satisfying games that people play that are relatively mundane, like Power Wash Simulator or like House Flipper or whatever, where you're like cleaning up a house. I feel like a game where you're kind of putting the paneling and detailing on the side of a spaceship could kind of be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the scale of that could come into it with just like as you get better and like get better contracts and stuff, it's like, oh, this spaceship that I have to do now is like 20 times the size of the previous one because it's, you know, a completely different class of ship and you need new methods for doing the paneling, but it's still a somewhat, you know, manual thing because it's about like placing different panels and having them interlock and come out with a nice satisfying finish or something.
So how does this work with Bingo then?
The first ship that you work on, it's the HMS Bingo.
Starship Bingo?
Starship Bingo, yeah. That's it.
And then the second one is IBNGO.
INGO. Yeah, totally.
Third one is B clap NGO and whatever.
Yeah. Until you just work on the O.
Yeah.
The Starship O. It's Oprah's ship. It's the biggest one.
I know. I quite like, you know, whether it's actually setting up a panel on a starship, like as in those sort of panels, or whether it's the instrument panel within a spaceship.
Well, it could be both. I mean, you could have the internal stuff as well, where you get to kind of lay out the decor and set up like, oh, okay, where are we going to, once you get to the bigger starships and you've got like Star Trek style bridges and stuff, it's like, okay, where are we going to put the science station?
Here, so therefore, well, you need a microscope. So therefore we need to have something over there. And I'm now literally picturing unpacking, but for
yeah, like, well, you could have those aspects of it too. That's a similar sort of satisfying, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe each ship comes with crates of stuff,
and you're just going through. And it's like, oh, okay, so we're in the captain's quarters. Okay, let's open the box named Captain, and it's like, oh, you got this. Okay, put this on this shelf over here, and put this
like
here.
Some like awards that they've won, or you know, their certificate of captain school. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, let's go one more. Let's see how we go. 3, 2, 1, click.
Rattler.
Shaping.
Shaping,
as in a shape, but the process of doing that.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I can see scale working well with shapes in that sense, like geometric shapes or something.
I don't know why, but my head has gone to, you know, the Tupperware shape ball. You've just got all the shapes that you put into the red and blue ball.
Oh, okay. Okay. In a kind of Katamari Damacy-ish sort of way, what if you starting out putting just regular shapes into one of those shape balls, and then like the ball grows. It's like, oh, now we got to find household objects
that are going to
fit into each of the holes.
Yeah,
and it's not as obvious, and then it goes bigger again. It's like, oh shit, now it's like
but
around the neighborhood or whatever.
The holes change to like, because it starts off as those shapes. It's like, okay, cool. So now I've done these shapes, and it's like, oh, now I've got like,
this is like vaguely dog shaped.
This is rather table shaped. It's sort of.
So yeah, there's going to be, but I feel like it should be that you can find.
This is in VR, by the way. Like,
okay.
I picture being able to pick up the ball and sort of rotate it around,
like, turn it around and fit it into the.
Have it in there, and as you put the last one in, you and the ball
the ball grow,
and it's like now you can pick up like a table and stick that into the bowl, and you can pick up the fridge, and like that's a good enough square shape that fits in the square hole.
Well, as long as you put it through in the right direction. Well, and then I like the idea of certain things potentially require interactions to get them into that shape. Like there's an umbrella.
You have to open up the doors of the refrigerator to get it to make that,
to get like
that rectangular shape with the thin line down the side.
Yeah.
It's
you got to open an umbrella to like make it into the umbrella shape. Like that's sort of the base. That's a pretty basic one.
Yeah.
But it might even be like combining objects, or you're at the level of you're able to pick up people and stuff, and you have to give the person a hat or something that's gonna whatever, like make them to the right shape. Or
I'm picturing that you're like, oh, I need to find a pregnant lady because this one's got a real big belly. But then you realize, oh, if I just give this one a basketball and they're holding it, it's like, yeah, that's the perfect size. You just shove it through.
I thought you were going to say you need to like do a meet cute between two of the people, like match them up.
No.
Yeah, I feel like that could work really well.
This one's kind of alien
whimsical...
shaped, as in, xenomorph. So you got to find a face hugger and meet cute with a person.
With a person, I would call that a meet cute. MEAT cute, but.
And then you just don't look as the cocoon happens. It's pixelated in
that's
Japan.
NSFW. But I like, you could do some really fun puzzles with that, right? Like you could do that sort of thing of like, oh, this looks like something familiar, but I don't seem to have anything in my environment that will do that. But then you figure out like, oh, when I combine these two things, you electrify the dog and it puffs all its hair out or something. I don't know, to make the right shape.
I do like the idea of you don't maybe go so big so fast, so you can actually spend a little bit more time oh, okay, now I need to find something that is, sort of going to fit this. And it's like, oh, this is a really small hole. Oh, this pencil will fit in, and you can put that in. And
No, for sure. And I think, you could even...
Oh, a crushed can. Like you crush a can and there's like that thin, weird, sort of more jaggedy edge sides and,
Yeah, it essentially reminds me of a cross between Katamari Damacy and did you ever play Donut County?
Yes.
Yeah, where you're sort of trying to figure... Like you've got a lot of things... My kids love it. That's one of the games they love to play on the Steam Deck. But like you'll have levels there where you've got environmental aspects that will affect your items in certain ways, and you're essentially solving puzzles then to be able to fit things into your hole in that case as well. But in specifically in this case, it's you've got all these different items.
Yeah. Look, I reckon we do one more really quick one.
Yeah. Pivoting.
Prison.
Okay. Wait, prism?
Prison.
Prison.
We need to build
like
a
where
prison.
Bad guys go. Okay. Pivoting is interesting because with scale, I just think of then like 3D modeling.
Yeah.
Or like altering primitives in some way.
Yeah.
In prison, though.
Well, it's a prison break, and the way that you got to get out is very much like in Friends with having to pivot to get things out.
It's about turning items in the correct way to get them around awkward corners.
Because you said that you were going to get Harry the board out, and he just happens to, be immobilized on a board, and you just got to pivot him out.
I mean, this almost sounds similar to our first game. It could be a 2-player thing of having to...
A top-down
You
game.
can only rotate your end.
Yeah.
Or move your end. And having to navigate apparently an immobilized prisoner who's straight as a board through a space of lots of twists and turns.
I don't know why, but it's so funny.
Harry the board. He's well known for it. That was his nickname before this even happened. He does this sometimes.
Well, he's got that, and it's really not a nice nickname because it wasn't his fault that he's got that disease where you seize up and your bones and muscles turn to stone. But
yeah, what's the opposite? What's rigor mortis but not mortis? Like rigor livus.
But either way, all he wants to do is get home for the holidays, and his last appeal was denied. He's innocent.
So you're breaking him out.
So you're breaking him out because, he doesn't have long to live.
He couldn't have done it. He can't move his arms and legs.
He doesn't have to move his arms and legs for the last, long time.
Definitely a frame-up, and by which I mean they tried to make a doll frame out of him. And that's how they, got him put in prison.
Well, anyway, that is the last of tonight.
That's the last of tonight.
Last episode
outro. Trevor's because of how that fell flat, pun not intended,
and because of that,
we're ending the podcast. No. If you would like to find all of our previous episodes online, you can go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. They're all up there. Free, like most podcasts are, unless Spotify's paying you millions of dollars to make them exclusive.
And look, you can always, you can always pay for Spotify. We're on Spotify, and you can pay for.
We are on Spotify.
Yeah,
we don't get anything if you do.
No,
we'd rather you paid us. Yes. If that's how you want to do it. But,
if you see us on the street, give us money.
Do it on Spotify. That's how Patreon works, right?
Yeah, pay us what we're worth. So if we gave you 15 cents worth of entertainment,
flip us a couple coins.
Pay us a couple of pennies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Times that by 400. Because as we reach episode 400 in the next couple of weeks, maybe we've got a surprise coming for 400. Maybe we don't.
Oh, maybe we do. Neither of us know because we haven't talked about it.
It would probably be a good idea for us to talk about it. But
yeah. All right, do your bit about the, song
at the start and end of each episode, we play the song Mantiphone. It's off the album Containment Failure. We hope you like it, and it's a cool song.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben the Board.
And I'm Trevor the Board. Pivot!
Pivot!